这个故事如果你听起来不累，那么你的英语能力在美国日常生活是完全够用的。像学母语一样学英语，我们开始吧。
A man named Victor Navorsky stood in a long line at JFK, the big airport in New York City, holding an old peanut can that was important to him. His old bag was by his feet. Victor, who came from a faraway country called Krakosia, was happy to be in America and had his passport ready. But Victor did not know something very big. While he was on the airplane flying over the sea, his home country got into big trouble because a bad war started. The leaders of Krakosia lost their power, and it was like his country was suddenly gone. Victor went to the desk and gave his passport to a man named Frank, who was one of the bosses at the airport and liked things to be neat and easy. Frank looked at Victor's passport, then at his computer and frowned. Frank said, "There is a problem. Your country, Krakosia, it is not a country anymore, so your passport and your visa are not good." Victor did not understand. "No good?" he asked, since his English was not very strong yet. He pointed to his papers. "But I have them." Frank tried to tell him, "You cannot come into America, and we cannot send you back home, as your country is gone. There is no place to send you." Victor felt a cold, sad feeling. He was stuck. He was a man from a country that was not there anymore. This new airport was so big, like a whole city inside, and it was in America, a new country where he had never been before. He could not go into America, nor could he go back. Frank took his passport and his airplane ticket to go home. Then Frank gave him some tickets for food and a phone card, telling Victor he had to stay in the part of the airport where people wait for planes to other countries. He could not go out the airport doors into New York City. The first days were very hard. Victor did not speak much English, so it was hard to talk to people and to understand them. He had no money. He found some chairs near Gate 67, and that became his uncomfortable bed. For food, kind people from the airlines would sometimes give him small packets of plain crackers. Those dry crackers were often all he had to eat. He would try to make them last, nibbling them slowly because he was always a little hungry and never knew when he might get more. Sometimes his stomach would rumble loudly. Each cracker tasted like loneliness, a small, crunchy reminder that he was stuck and depending on the kindness of strangers for his next small meal. He felt very, very alone. The airport, which was big and full of people running around, made him feel like a ghost because no one really saw him. He missed his home even if it was gone, and he was very worried about what would happen to him. Frank, the airport boss, thought Victor was a very big problem. Frank's job was to keep the airport running smoothly and follow all the rules. But there were no rules for someone like Victor. A man living in the airport day after day was not normal, and it made the airport look messy and out of control. That's why Frank really wanted Victor to just go away. He even tried to get Victor to just leave the airport by himself. One time, Frank told a guard to look away for 5 minutes, which was a chance for Victor to sneak out. But Victor knew that was not the right thing to do. He was a good man who wanted to wait and follow the rules, even if the rules were hard. So he stayed. The airport became Victor's new world. Because he was a smart man, he found books and papers, some in his language and some in English. He started to teach himself English. Although it was hard, he kept trying. As he watched the news on the TVs, he learned more words. One day, Victor saw something interesting. People used carts to carry their bags. He learned that when they were done, if they put the cart back in a special place, a machine gave them a coin. It was a quarter. Victor started to get all the carts he could find and push them back. Even though it was hard work that made him walk all over the big airport, soon he had enough coins. He went to Burger King and bought a hamburger that tasted so good. Slowly, Victor made a life in the airport. He found a gate that no one was using because it was being fixed. It was dusty, so he cleaned it up. After he found some old wood, he made a little table and a better place to sleep, which became his own little home inside the airport. He started to meet people who worked at the airport. One was a kind man named Gupta who cleaned the floors. At first, Gupta was not sure about Victor, but since Victor was always nice and always tried to help, Gupta began to like him. There was a young man named Enrique who worked with the airplane food. Enrique liked a lady who checked passports, but he was too shy to talk to her. Victor helped Enrique by finding out what the lady liked and telling Enrique, acting like a secret helper for love. Victor also met a lady named Amelia, who was a flight attendant working on the airplanes. Amelia was pretty, but she often looked sad when they would talk at the airport. Amelia told Victor about her life and her dreams, and as Victor listened, he grew to like Amelia a lot. He wished he could take her to a real dinner in New York City, but he was stuck in the airport. One time he got some money from helping to paint a wall because he was good at fixing things. He then made a nice dinner for Amelia right there in the airport, putting a table near a big window where they could see the airplanes outside. One day a man from Russia was very upset, shouting at the customs desk. He had medicine for his sick father in America, but the airport men said he could not bring it in because he did not have the right papers for the medicine. They wanted to take it away, and the man was crying. Frank, the airport boss, was there, looking angry about the noise. Victor understood some Russian, so he listened. The medicine was for animals, for goats, but a paper said if it was an emergency, people could use it too. Victor had an idea since he knew Frank did not like noisy problems. Victor talked to Frank, being careful with his words. He told Frank the medicine was just for a goat. While this was not the whole story, it was a smart way to help because Frank just wanted the noise to stop, so Frank said okay. He signed the paper and the medicine could go in. The Russian man was so happy that he hugged Victor, who had helped him save his father. Later, Gupta told the other workers, "Did you see Victor? He is a hero. He helped that man with the medicine." After that, many airport workers liked Victor even more. He was not just a strange man living at the gate. He was their friend who was kind and smart. But Frank, the boss, was not happy that Victor was so popular, especially since Frank wanted a better job and thought Victor made him look bad. Frank told Victor he could not help paint walls anymore and tried to make Victor's life hard. He even tried to use Amelia to make Victor leave, giving her a special paper for Victor that would let Victor leave the airport for one day. But then Victor would have to leave America. Victor knew it was a trick and would not do it. Amelia, who had her own problems, told Victor she had to go away. Victor understood, though he felt sad. All this time, Victor carried his special peanut can. Why was it so important? One night he showed his friends, Gupta and Enrique, what was inside. It was not peanuts, but an old picture that showed many famous jazz music players. Victor's father, who was not alive anymore, loved jazz music. His father had gotten almost all the music players in the picture to sign their names, but one name was missing. It was a saxophone player named Benny Golson. Victor had promised his father that he would get that last name. That was why he came to New York. That was his big secret and why he was waiting. 9 months went by, which is a long time. Then one day there was good news. The war in Victor's country, Krakosia, was over, and there was a new government. Victor could get a visa. He could finally leave the airport and go into New York City. He was so happy, and his friends were happy for him. But Frank had one last mean plan. He called Victor to his office. "The war is over, Victor," Frank said, his voice cold. "You can go into the city now, or you can go back to Krakosia. But if you go into the city even for one day, I will make trouble for your friends. Enrique will lose his job, and Gupta..." Frank stopped for a second. "I know Gupta ran away from India a long time ago. I will send him back to India." Victor's heart felt heavy. "If I go to city," Victor asked, "you will hurt my friends?" Frank nodded, his face hard. "Yes, it is my job." Victor was trapped again. He could not let his friends get into trouble because of him. He thought about his promise to his father and about his friends. It was a very hard choice. The next morning, Victor was very sad, thinking he would have to go back to Krakosia and would not get the last signature. But then there was a lot of noise. It was Gupta, who was running to a plane that was going to India, waving his cleaning mop. "I am going home," he shouted. "Stop the plane. I want to go to India." Airport police ran and caught him. Gupta looked back at Victor, and Victor saw a little smile on Gupta's face. Gupta was being brave. He chose to be sent back so that Victor would be free to go. Because of what Gupta did, Frank could not hurt him anymore, and Frank's mean plan was broken. The other airport workers who saw what happened looked at Frank and then at Victor. One of the guards, a big man who often stood by the door, took off his own winter coat. He walked to Victor. "It is cold outside," the guard said as he gave Victor the coat. Then he moved away from the door. Victor understood. He could go. He put on the warm coat and walked out of the airport doors. For the first time in 9 months, he felt the New York air on his face, which was cold but felt good. He got into a taxi as he knew where he wanted to go. He went to a hotel where Benny Golson, the jazz music player, was playing that night. Victor waited. Then he met him. He showed Benny Golson the picture and the empty space for the last name. He told him about his father and his promise. Benny Golson listened and smiled, then signed his name on the picture. The picture was finished. Victor held the peanut can, where the picture was safe inside. He did it. He kept his promise. He got into another taxi. The driver asked, "Where to?" Victor looked out the window at the bright lights of New York City, thinking about his father, Krakosia, and his friends at the airport like Gupta, Enrique, and Amelia. A small, tired smile came to his face. "I am going home," he said very softly. And home was not just a place far away. It was a good feeling he had inside him. A feeling made from keeping his promise, from being kind, and from being strong in his heart.
太棒了！作为一个母语非英语的人，你把故事听完了，你离英语自由又近了一步。我们下个视频见。